Hi, it's been a while. This is still my little ambient box I'm working on. It's had a few changes since my last video. I fell so much in love with the Plonk synthesizer from Intellijel that I just had to add another. And since this is a pretty small case, it meant that something else had to go. So now all the sound is from these two Plonk modules. I added a small distortion filter unit called Viol Ruina from Noise Engineering, and then I put in this little attenuverter thing from Intellijel that can also function as a mixer. So that allows me to somewhat control the two tones. Both of them are still controlled from the Teletype. One of them goes through the little filter distortion unit, mixed together, and then they both go into the Mimeophon. Now the other new thing is I added the grid sequencer. Man, I love that thing, especially with the Teletype. So what I thought I'd do today is go over what exactly this sequencer is. I will post a link to the actual code for anyone interested in running it. You don't actually need a grid to run it. You can use the grid simulator in the Teletype for that. So essentially, since I have two units, I have two tracks. Each of these have the same controls. The first is the length of the sequence. And so right now it has full length, I think it's 12 steps, but I can tap anywhere. And now it's gonna just be 4 steps. If I want it longer, tap out there, all the way out to I think maybe 16 steps. The light little things you can see here, that's the pattern. The pattern I control by this little sequence down here. And the way I control it is that I simply light up the steps that I'm interested in. So this is a little 6-step sequence essentially that then gets copied out over the entire sequence. So you can see right now I just have the first button set, which means that I get a hit every 6. If we add another one here, you can see that it gets added out here. Now, I'm specifically looking for this to not match the length of this, to not divide into it, so that what you get from it is a sequence that is more interesting than just if it had been a repeatable continuous sequence. We can make it a lot shorter too. And what you'll see then is it simply gives you as many steps as you have from this little sequence. Alright, let's make it a lot longer again. The one below is exactly the same. You can turn that one off right now just to make it a little easier to hear what's happening up here. So now nothing is lit up in this down here. It's only this one, which is the length marker. So everything we're hearing is from the top sequencer here. Let's add another step. Alright, so that's our steps. The next set of buttons here is the notes in the scale. So 1 through 7. With the first one only, every single hit will play the root note. And so what is the root note? Well, at the very bottom, I have 2 sequences that define that. The first are the 12 notes in scale, and the second is the type of the scale. If you go back to the video I posted about using the key and scale operations in teletypes, that's essentially what I'm just straight up using here. So right now, this would be in a C minor. We could switch it to a C major, which of course we wouldn't hear since we're only playing the root note. But let's add some of these. So 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th. Now we should essentially get an arpeggio up through those. Alright, so now it should be a little more easy to hear when I shift the mode here. So let's switch back to minor. And this, of course, is a little boring. Add a few more steps here and make it alright. Let's remove some of these again. Make it a little more sparse. Then the second sequence works exactly the same way. So this up here shows me what steps are going to be hit. Right now, none. Let's add one. And then right now this is 6 long. Let's make it 5 long just to make it rotate as a polymeter with the other. And so as you can see over here, we have only 2 notes picked out, which is the 3rd and the 7th, which means that that's what the sequence is going to play. In this sequencer, just 3rd and 7th, but it's the same scale, which means that everything is going to be somewhat harmonic. One of the things I wanted with this little sequencer was an ability to quickly shift keys and modes as I'm playing. So for example, jump up here to a major on a different key. So my hope with that is that that makes it easy for me to integrate this with a larger composition that's not just in a single scale all the time. That's one of the problems I have with a Make Noise Renee, is that in the way I'm using it, it becomes really hard for me to switch between scales on it. I think that's about it for now. I will be posting a lot more about this, and if you're interested in this little sequencer, if you have a teletype, I will post a link to the actual source code so that you can run it on your own. Thanks for watching.